As a teacher, I have the opportunity to listen to what the students are saying amongst themselves. It kind of gives me an idea of what's going on so that I can then incorporate it into my lessons. Well, most recently, they've been talking about a thing called credit recovery. So I was wondering, what is this credit recovery deal all about? So I did a little bit of research. It came about to give people a second chance at being able to graduate. Give them a second chance on some of those classes that they failed. Now, when I was in high school, if you failed a class, you simply took it over. Now they have these special programs to give you the second chance. Well, where did these programs come from? They came about in order to cut down on the dropout rate. Those students that struggle were ones that tend to drop out. And it gave them a chance to graduate, because dropouts are statistically demonstrated to not make as much money in their lifetime. But then I got to thinking, who is this really benefiting? As it turns out, a lot of the educational reforms, the school accountability and your No Child Left Behind, and before that, Goals 2000, set as one of their intentions to reduce the dropout rate and increase graduation rates. You see, the schools get sanctioned heavily if too many kids are dropping out or not enough are graduating. These programs were created not to benefit the students per se, but to benefit us, the teachers, and more importantly, the schools and school districts. Because, as you know, if you take their money, you got to play by their rules. And since most school budgets drive a lot from federal funds and state funds, if they say cut down the graduation rate, you cut down the graduation rate, however means it takes. So, as a teacher, how does that affect me? Well, actually, I think it affects me negatively. You see, when I was listening to my students talking about credit recovery, their take on it was, I really don't have to pay attention in the teacher's class. Oh yeah, I have to sit there for the time, but I can redo this in a span of maybe 3 or 4 weeks on distance learning or through virtual high school or whatever, and get my credit anyways. I don't have to work the first time. Aren't we actually creating a negative incentive to actually do it right the first time? When I have seniors that chose to do very little and then turn out to fail and say, oops, you don't have the credits to graduate. And they come to me saying, what can I do to make this all up? I'm thinking, you have the opportunity to do it right the first time. There's a consequence to your indolence. Maybe you need to look at, take it over. And of course, they go over my head, and the administration, whether it be at building level or district level, saying, hey, why don't you just go through this credit recovery program? Take you 3 or 4 weeks, and we can get you walking down and getting your sheepskin. That cuts out my profession. It's a cut down to my integrity and dignity to say that the teacher really doesn't count. All it really counts is numbers. Samuel Clemens said it in this way: there lies, damnable lies, and statistics. And it is that last, statistics, that drives schools and school districts. So long as we keep our dropout numbers low and our graduation rates high, no one's going to know the difference. But I'm entrusted to educate the students and to make them productive adults. And if we send out kids that really don't learn anything, or they chose not to learn anything, and we just let them slip by with some kind of short 3 or 4 week program, are we really doing our jobs? Can 3 to 4 weeks really cover all the stuff they need to know? If they did, then why am I spending a whole year doing it when I can just cut it down to 3 to 4 weeks? There's something not right in the way this is going. Either my job is superfluous, or they're not doing theirs at the district level. Just something to think about.